Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uneku, but you can call me Unex. So today we're going to be talking about my PTDF journey while you watch me do my makeup. Yeah, I don't know how I came about this video, but I don't know how it's going to correlate, but listen to the voice while you watch me do my makeup. Yeah, so basically I want to talk about how I applied to PTDF and how I got the scholarship. I applied in 2023, 22. That was the first time I applied to PTDF, which I was unsuccessful. And I applied the second time, which was in 2023, and here I am. To be honest, this second time I didn't feel like applying because I had lost hope already from the first time. I mean, thank God for my parents, thank God for my friends, thank God for my colleagues, especially my HOD and Professor Yax, who actually pushed me, and also Arome, because Arome was the one who called me. It was the deadline, and Arame called me and asked, "Have you applied? Have you sent in your application?" And I was like, "No, I didn't want to." I said, what do you get to lose? Just apply. Okay, since I had already applied the year before, I just packed my documents because I had them in one folder, brought out my documents, my SOP. I needed to, change the data in my SOP to more recent data. And I put one or two together. And because I already had the old account, it was not very difficult for me to start up my application again. Initially, I actually wanted to register a new account, but I thought about it and decided to go for the old account. And I just submitted. And that was it. I submitted and I forgot about it. I didn't even think about them calling me or anything. I just submitted and I was done. A few months later, an email came for the interview, and then I was broke, like really broke. And I didn't want to waste money traveling because I was in Kogi at that time at Ida, and I didn't want to spend that money, travel from Ida to Abuja for the interview, and nothing comes up. I called my mom, my sister, and I told them about it, and they insisted, "What would you lose? Just go and do this interview. It's one of two things. It's either you get it or not." They're really hopeful that I would get it and just pushed me. To the extent that the night before I traveled, my dad was still convincing me, and he told me about his own story of how he also applied to scholarships and how he got a few, and just push. He told me about his friends also who wrote, and I just needed all the convincing that I could get. And I packed my things and I left for the interview the next day. Now to the day of the interview, I dressed up, just very simple, very, very simple. The year before I wore my heels, did my makeup, looking peng. But this time I wasn't even having it. I just wore my shirt, a trouser, and my flat shoes, packed my hair, and off. I was off to the interview place. Yeah, the interview happened at the headquarters, the PTDF headquarters. And when I got there, we waited for a while and they moved us to the different spots where we're supposed to have our interviews. There was this particular office, people were just coming out of it. They were not taking time. In my mind, I started praying to God, "God, I want to go to this office. I want to go to this office." I didn't know God was planning something else for me. And then finally, I got my turn. And this time, they then delayed. The person who went in, it took a lot of time, and I missed that spot. They took me to the next office. I was already pissed, like, why? I wanted this office because everything was happening so fast. When I got into the office where I did my interview, it was chill. I will tell you, it was really chill. First thing they do is they look at your documents, they check your results, your BSc, your WAEC, and score it, because there's a way they do their scoring. When they saw my BEng, the first thing the chairman of the board said was, "Wow." I was surprised because I graduated 2-1. It's not like it's a first class, it's a 2-1. Okay, I graduated 2-1 from Mechanical Engineering Department from Federal University of Technology in Minna. When he saw it and he was like, "Wow," I was confused for a moment, and he said, "This result is equivalent to a first class in a private university." For my mind, I'm like, this is good. Sounds like a good thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting down any private universities because I have friends who went to private universities and they are very smart, like really, really smart. So, not putting down any private university. But that was what happened during my interview. And when that happened, he then checked my WAEC results and he was also impressed because I had a few A's here and there. And he was just basically impressed. And now, to the main thing, my SOP, he took his time to read every sentence, like from the beginning to the end. And throughout, I just saw him nodding. Generally, I don't know. To be sincere, I feel like it was just God. I won't lie to you. I feel like it was just God because everything was just happening so fast and it was happening to my favor. So yeah, after looking at all of my documents, he then asked me a few questions about why I chose Germany, why not UK. Germany is 2 years, and I'll be spending more time. And I just answered a few questions, why I chose the school I chose, all those basic questions. And now, that's my scattered dressing. I mean, to me, the dressing was scattered, but to them, it was different because after we're done with the interview, I didn't even know we're done. When they asked me, you can go, I had to, sir. And he said, you can go. Your interview is over. Initially, I said 9. I'm not getting this thing. It was too short. I mean, every other person had taken time. Why is my own different? Anyways, I then got up, packed my things, and I was heading out. And the last comment I heard is, and she's dressed smartly, dressed like an engineer. Me that I thought I was dressed anyhow and I was not ready for this interview. Just imagine, just nego do God. Yeah, and that was the end for the interview. And in September of that year, we got the congratulations email from PTDF that I was successful. I couldn't contain my joy. The mail came at night around 10 p.m. I was so happy. I showed my sister and she said, you see yourself, just imagine you didn't put in that application. I was so happy, so overjoyed. My mom was there also. She started praying and singing and dancing, and it was a thing of joy for me. After the successful email came, then next thing I saw that I had to apply to another scholarship, which is DAD. Then I was just confused. I said, I thought PTDF was over. I don't like to apply to things sincerely. I was like, PTDF is over. Which one is that? Where is that coming from? That was when I realized that it was not just PTDF, it was PTDF DAD scholarship. It was a German-Nigerian collaboration. So another hurdle began. I mean, if you get PTDF, that's not an assurance that you get DAD. I mean, that does not mean PTDF won't sponsor you. PTDF will still sponsor you. But most times, people directly under PTDF, spend more time compared to those who have DAD. If you're with DAD in few months, in short, if you want to go in a few weeks, you would go. And DAD also has this language school. You have the allowance to do a language school for 4 months before you actually start your studies. That's the advantage of having that scholarship alongside your PTDF. Now I had to apply to DAD, another process again, having to get all the documents together. I had to get proof of experience in the renewable energy sector, and thank God I had it already because I used to work with a solar company in Abuja before I started lecturing. So I had that done, and to the glory of God, I also got DAD. That is it's a story for another day. That story for another day. We're going to talk about that another time. But that was how I got my I applied to PTDF and I got my scholarship. It will make sense that after all of this, I don't give you tips. Tips and tricks on how you can get PTDF. I mean, I'm not the best, but I can give you just a few tips I think would make sense. This very first tip is for those who are still in school. If you're still in school, this tip is for you. But if you're finished school, I'm sorry, I don't know how. I don't know. I'm just sorry. So the first tip I'll say is having a good result. First things first, majority of these scholarships that we apply to, they are looking for those who have really good results. So if you're in school now, your best bet is having a good result. You must not graduate the first class. It's not everybody that gets PTDF this first class. With your 2-1, you can still get PTDF. I don't know of anybody who has gotten PTDF with a 2-2, but I don't know if it's possible, but I'm very sure that 2-1 and first class, you can get your PTDF. If you're still in school, please read, do well, and get a very good result. Now to my second tip is good SOP. Your SOP, which is your statement of purpose, sells you. That's what you use to sell yourself. Now, aside the good results you have, whether your WAEC was good or your BN is good or was good or whatever, your SOP should also sell you. Starting from, if you look at, if you have good mentors. For me, I had a very good person. I had 2 people who helped me very much with my SOP, which is Professor Yax, thank you, and Elliot Obechina, thank you also. These people actually helped me to review my SOP after I had written it. If you see my first draft, oh my goodness. My first draft was a mess. And after the first draft, I sent it to Prof. Yax, who advised me on what to do and what not to do, and I made the correction. After that, I sent it to Elliot Obechina, who also gave me advice on what to do. He was the one that majorly asked me to include data in my SOP. That's what you need to include data in your SOP. That is, for example, you need to say, if you're talking about CO2, you need to tell them the amount of CO2 that is being emitted into the atmosphere in a particular place. If you want to reduce the CO2, in my own case, I was talking about offshore renewable energy, and I needed to know the amount of power that was consumed on a rig. I even had to ask a few people working on the rig what their generator capacity is, and just so that I could have real data. So your SOP should contain this real data and just make it very catchy. And you should also talk about the reason why you chose the particular country you chose, the reason why you think the course that you chose will also be beneficial to the oil and gas sector. All of those things should be included in your SOP. Secondly, if you're lucky after your application and you're called for the interview, these are the few tips I would also give you. Number 1, please dress well. Dress well. I mean, you don't have to look like an African queen, but just be smart. Dress smartly, and then secondly, please don't give up. If after your first trial, if you're not called, please try again. Keep trying. Just keep trying. Just imagine I had given up in my first trial. That would have been it for me. But thank God I had people who pushed me and asked me to keep trying, which I did, and I'm forever grateful to them. And finally, we cannot underestimate the place of God, because you can put in all of the efforts that you want to put in, but God is the one that finalizes it for you. I will tell you, because for me, I don't know how it happened. I always tell people that it was the will of God. This is what God just wanted for me at that time, and it happened. And I prayed about it also. So while you're preparing, while you're having it with your good results, I was not the best of people who came for the interview that day, and I got it. So with your good results, with your good SOP, with dressing smart and what have you, my dear, if there is no God in it, I'm sorry. So please, you can put in all of these little tips that I've put in there, and then cap it up with prayer, and don't stop trying. Fail the first time, try again. Fail the second time, try again. Third time, try again until you get it. If that's what you want, you would get it for sure. This is my story. This is how I got my PTDF, and also the few tips I could share with you. Now back to the makeup. This is the final look. I hope I did a good job. All of the things I know about makeup I learned on YouTube and practice. So I hope I did a good job. Yeah, I learned from the likes of Laifa and Dima Ome. If you want to learn, you can check them out. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching my video. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers!